Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you 9 tips to help you set boundaries in your life for healthy relationships. Some of you know about boundaries and some of you may not. So the first question is, what are boundaries? Boundaries, just to simplify it for you, is basically rules that you set up for how you want others to treat you. They're basically unwritten guidelines, and like I said before, they're rules that you set up for you and your life, your lifestyle, how you want to be treated, how you want to be respected. You set boundaries to let others know what you do and do not like. Well, you know what? It's not even about what you don't like, it's what you want. So you basically set boundaries to let people know how you want to be treated. The first tip that is helpful when you set boundaries is to first identify your core values. Identify what it is that is the most important to you. What really matters in your life. What type of core values really set up the platform for your beliefs and your values? Put it this way. Think about the type of person that you want to be, the type of person that you want to show up in your life as. So the important thing is to identify what your core values are. You can do this by making a list and just thinking and writing out the things about your life that you would like to see change in. The things that are the most important to you. Your belief system is really what guides your core values. Tip number 2, get real with your limits. You have to know your limits. You have to know what you just cannot tolerate. The things that make you angry, resentful, upset with other people. You have to identify where your breaking point is for certain things. For example, in your home, you might not like people walking in your house with their shoes on. That type of thing right there could just take you to your limit, because you know that when people come in the house with their shoes, they could track in dirt, mud, other things from the bottom of their shoes to just dirty up the floor. So that is a limit that you would like to set in your house. So you would have to set that boundary with your guests to let them know that as soon as they come through the front door, it's important for them to take off their shoes and put on a pair of socks. And if you don't have on socks, it would be wise to have a basket of socks right there at the front door. Okay, that's just an example though, but it's important for you to know your limits. Another important key factor with setting limits is knowing, how much space you have for certain activities in your life. A lot of times people will say yes to certain duties or things that other people want them to do, when in all actuality, you really want to say no. So it's very important to know your limit as far as like maybe your workload, for example. Knowing you have a lot on your plate and then saying yes to help out with something at your children's school. Knowing your limits. Know for yourself what you have the time and the energy for. Tip number 3. This is a really, really big one. And if you're new to setting boundaries, and even if you're not, this could really get in the way. And that is to remove the guilt. Remove the guilt. Don't feel bad for setting boundaries. I mean, you have to do this. If you don't set boundaries, you allow people to treat you how they want to treat you. And that could be bad, That could be a really unhealthy thing in all of your relationships if you just allow people to say and do whatever it is that they want to you. But that's why it's important for you to always know that when you are setting boundaries, you are doing this for yourself. You are doing this so that you are able to have healthy and better relationships in your life. So remove the guilt. It's going to be natural, for you to kind of feel bad when you have to tell a person no, when you're used to saying yes. It's going to feel different when you have to set boundaries with a person that you've never set boundaries with before, because we're going to get to that later on. But a lot of people just don't accept boundaries being set when it's definitely something new for you and that person in your relationship. But you definitely want to remove the guilt. Number 4, you want to prioritize self-care. When you're in the process of figuring out what type of boundaries you need to set in your life, prioritizing self-care will give you that space and that time to sit with yourself and realize and understand what it is that you need in your life in those moments of your life where you might feel stressed out or anxious or just frustrated. Prioritizing that self-care gives you that moment to love on yourself, to ask yourself these important questions like, what do I need to do to cultivate more peace in my life? Where do I need to set boundaries at where I lack them? Prioritizing the self-care is very important for you to just take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. When you're on the plane, the flight attendant tells you to make sure that you put on your oxygen mask first and then help the person beside you, because you have to help yourself first before you can help anyone else. If your tank is not full, you don't have anything to give to the next person. So make sure that you are always in a good state of well-being before you can start helping another person. That's why a lot of times people are just so depleted. You know, they're like, I don't have any energy. I'm just so drained. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, because you're giving all of your energy to other people instead of yourself. You're the most important person. It's like, if you don't have a full tank, how can you help anyone else? Please prioritize your self-care. Love on you for once. Love on you all the time. Do the things that you really enjoy doing, okay? One of my favorite self-care practices is getting massages, or if I don't have the time or, you know, the funds or whatever to go get a massage, it's important for me to give myself a massage or take a nice, hot, relaxing bath. It's just the simplest things, okay? But let's be clear, I also want to be able to stress this piece, and that is that setting boundaries is a form of self-care. Yes, it is. Setting boundaries is a form of self-care. So when you tell people how you want to be treated, okay, that's a form of self-care. If you lack boundaries, that's a form of disrespect. So keep that in mind. But for the most part, make sure that you are prioritizing yourself, okay? This is going to help you cultivate more boundaries in your life. The fifth tip in learning how to set boundaries is to start small and then build your way up from there. I think a lot of times on our healing journeys, we want to just do everything all at once. Everything that we read, you know, any little exercises that it's important for us to implement in our lives, we want to start doing it all really, really quickly so we can see these fast results, when in all actuality, you only need to do a little bit day by day, because you don't want to burn yourself out when it comes to this healing process. So when it comes to setting boundaries, start out small. So what I mean by starting out small is choosing one small thing from your list of things that you would like to change in your life and start there. Just choose one and expound and build on that. And then congratulate yourself when you are able to set a new boundary, okay? But don't try to do it all at once. You'll burn yourself out. It'll be too much for you to handle, and then you're under a lot of emotional stress that then leads to physical complications, mental complications, and you just don't want to do that to yourself. You just don't want to burn yourself out by trying to get that instant gratification, okay? So start out small and build your way up from there. Small steps are so much better than no steps at all, okay? So give yourself some grace on this journey of setting boundaries in your life. Tip number 6, remember that your boundaries can be flexible. And what I mean by flexible, I don't mean that you set a boundary and then renege on that boundary and try to switch it up. No. Because when you set a boundary, you need to be direct and you need to mean what you say. But what I mean by flexible is that your boundaries for your family and the boundaries for your colleagues and the boundaries for your friends can all be different, okay? And it pretty much makes sense for the boundaries to be different depending on the location, the relationship, you know, just the dynamic of why you're setting boundaries in the first place. But understand that you can have flexibility in how you set boundaries in your life. They don't all have to be the same for all of the same people, okay? You have to do what fits and what works for your situation at that time, okay? And also keep in mind that you can change your boundary, okay? You can set a boundary for a while with someone, and then maybe 5 months later you realize, like, okay, that's not working. I need to make some adjustments and set a new boundary with this person. That is also okay, and that is also healthy, because only you know what is best for you. Tip number 7, practice how to say no. Now, As much as we want to be everything for everyone, you can't. We are all human, okay? We're not superhuman. You can't do everything and anything all the time. Like I said before, you will burn yourself out. So it's important to practice saying no. Practice saying no for one day. I'm gonna give you that homework. If you're having a hard time with saying no in your life, use one day to just say no to anybody or anything. If they ask you for anything, say no, okay? It doesn't matter what it is. If somebody opens a door for you, just say no. Say them to strangers, okay? Because you don't owe a stranger any type of explanation. And honestly, no is a complete sentence. So if someone asks you to do something, no, okay? Can you take the trash out? No, okay? Can you feed the dog and take him on a walk? No. It can be so simple, okay? But practice saying no. Just practice saying no. It's a complete sentence, okay? And you need to get in the habit of being able to say no. Even when it is hard, you have to know that it is okay to not always be a yes man, a yes woman, okay? You don't always have to say yes. And you definitely don't have to say yes because of who you are, your resources, and what you bring to the table. That's more of a reason why it's okay to say no. Because the other people around you need to learn to fend for themselves. Number 8, be clear and direct. And I mentioned this earlier about the fact that you want to be direct when you set your boundaries. You want to be assertive. You want to mean with what you say. But also recognize that when you're setting boundaries, you don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to use harsh language. You don't have to get upset with the person when you're setting boundaries. And I know that when you're a little frustrated with people disrespecting you or just crossing the line, you can kind of get in your feelings a little bit and then it might come out the wrong way. But always collect yourself and always try to be in a calm space when it's time for you to set boundaries. Because keep in mind, everyone doesn't accept boundaries in the right way or in the way that we would like them to when we tell them the boundary. So you already want to be in a clear state of mind when you go into doing this anyways, because you don't want anyone to make you lose your power, take you out of being in a good state of mind, because that can happen just like that. So when you're setting the boundary, be clear, be direct, be calm, come from a space of peace, and let that person know how you feel. Just release it and just express it, without any type of what's the word I'm looking for? Without any expectations. Okay, you are only doing this for you. So when you set the boundary, just be clear, be direct. I don't want you doing this. I would like it if you would stop referring to me as this, just as an example, but just be clear and be direct. Also keep in mind that when you're being clear and direct, you do not have to defend or debate with anyone about the boundaries that you're making. You're making the boundaries for you, not the other person. It's not something that needs to be, deliberated on. You don't need to talk this out and help the other person be okay. It's not for that. It's for you. So if they don't like it, that's for them to deal with. It's not for you to deal with. They have to figure out how they can accept the new boundary that's in place, not you. Number 9, recognize that your relationships might change. Okay, honestly, your relationships will change. Your relationships are going to change. It might be for the good, and then it might not be the way that you really wanted it to. But if it ends up ending, it means that that was supposed to happen in the first place. If a person cannot respect you, they don't deserve to be in your life, in your space, and they don't deserve to have access to your energy. So just recognize that when you set these boundaries, things will change, okay? Because you're changing. You're setting new rules for yourself. You're putting yourself in a better position. You're making sure that the relationships that you have in your life are really healthy. So, hey, if you set the boundaries and that person doesn't like them and they choose to go the opposite way, let them go, okay? Let them go, because that means that you had to let them go in order to grow. So that means you're on the right path, and that means you're doing the right thing for yourself. So don't be afraid of that either. like I said before, if you're doing something for the betterment of yourself and a person doesn't like that, that tells you all you need to know anyways. So don't let people disliking your new point of view or your new mindset, keep you away from doing what is best for you. That's what comes with, growing. It gets uncomfortable. Okay, setting boundaries for someone who's new to it or a person who is a people pleaser is going to be a lot. It's not easy. It's not easy coming from, not doing something to doing it. So I'm rooting for you. I know you can do it. I believe in you, and I still, work on setting boundaries. I'm not perfect. I'm human, but it's been very rewarding. It's very rewarding for you to set the tone on how you want to be treated. It might be a little hard. You might drop a few tears here and there. You might feel some type of way. The people around you might feel some type of way. But all in all is well. It will all work out for the good. So I hope that these 9 tips were helpful for you. And I hope that you are able to apply them in your life. Let me know how that works for you. Or if you are a person who is really into setting boundaries right now and doing the research and just learning how you can set better boundaries in your life for healthier relationships, comment below and let me know how that has worked out for you. So before I go and end this video, I wanted to read a wisdom card to you guys about setting boundaries. Here we go. I teach others how to love and respect me by how I love and respect myself. My integrity is supported when I express my thoughts and my feelings. I am aware of excessively wanting to please others. I will maintain and grow my personal power by saying yes when I mean yes and saying no when I want to say no. I speak up for myself and I set boundaries regarding other people's behavior. I do this by asking for what I do want, such as respect, patience, tolerance, and support, rather than telling them what I don't want. All right, guys. Always keep in mind that your voice matters, and good luck on setting boundaries in your life. I'll see you on the next video.